How's it going, guys? Back with another video. I hope you guys enjoyed, the previous videos I made. I appreciate you guys sticking around and bearing with me while I kind of figure out what I'm doing. Like I said before, I'm new to this whole kind of podcasting thing and making sure things look okay, sound okay, and I'm doing what I can with what I have, as opposed to actually having a different kind of office room to record. I'm kind of just recording in my room right now, but we'll make do for the time being. Today's episode, I kind of wanted to talk about repairing relationships, whether that's friendships or family relationships, whatever it may be, as this is something that you know I always struggled with. I always, and in the sense that I always cared a lot about what people thought about me. And, I wanted to be everyone's friend. I wanted to be in everyone's good books, per se, and stuff like that. So during my, when I was going through my addiction and I was drinking a lot, like I've said in previous videos, I would just turn into, a terrible person. Once I got to a level of drunkenness that, I pretty much always got to, I just became just some kind of a monster, just someone I'm very not proud of at all. A part of me that I've learned to hate and, never want to see or experience that thing ever again. So, when this was happening and I was becoming this terrible person, I lost pretty much all my friends. I was, kicked out of my house. My parents didn't really want me around. Neither did my sister. I wasn't invited to, extended families, events, whatnot. And, relationships had failed, this, that. And, I understand completely. I get it looking back now. At the time, obviously I was bitter, pissed off, and, it's everyone else's fault but mine, right? And that's what I was thinking during my addiction. But now looking back, I get it. I understand. I wouldn't want to be around someone like me either, at all. It's not someone you want to associate with. It's not someone you want to. It's just not a person you want to have around at all. If I was them, I would have done the exact same thing. And I don't fault anybody for that. And I accept that's how it had to be. But, with that being said, now being sober, coming up on almost 3 months next week, it's something that I wanted to do as soon as I, got sober and got a clear mindset. I did want to start repairing these friendships and relationships. And, I've learned that it takes time. Just like everything else, it's going to take a lot of time, and you got to put in some effort, right? I do believe it's a two-way street, but you do definitely have to put in the effort, or be the first to put in the effort. And it takes a long time to repair the damage that you've done to these friends and other people that you're close to, because people aren't just going to accept you back in right away, because they're scared to, right? They don't know how you're going to be, and they don't understand really that, being sober kind of changes pretty much everything. Everything in my life has changed, and for the better. But it's kind of hard for people to understand that, and you got to prove it to them too, right? Like, you have to prove to them that you have changed and you are a better person, and you are someone that they want to be around. And yeah, that just takes a lot of time, and it's going to take some effort from your part. But you can't dwell. Going back to my previous point, you can't really get too upset over what people think of you. And this is just common sense for everything, not really related to addiction, but just the mindset in general. You can't be too concerned of what people think of you, because I learned that, you giving a fuck about what people think about you really doesn't benefit you at all. You're just going to get caught up in living in someone else's, or the way you want to be seen in someone else's eyes, and you're just not going to be your true self. You're not going to, you're just going to lose your identity. And if you're constantly trying to be someone that other people are going to like, you just have to be yourself. And if people like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. And that's something that I've accepted recently, because it is what it is. And that's the kind of mindset I have right now. But yeah, I mean, with regards to, the friendships that I'm trying to mend right now, it's been good so far. There has been a little progress, but yeah, like I said, I understand the skeptics and or the skepticism from those friends with allowing me back in, and even giving me the chance to prove to them that I've changed, because they don't have to, right? They don't. You'd hope they do, but they don't. They don't owe you anything, right? Because you did the damage, and that's something that I have to accept and kind of live with. But yeah, I mean, I would be lying if I said it wasn't tough. But if anything, I would say during this time, I've kind of learned to be comfortable with myself, which is something I've always struggled with. That's maybe another topic for another day, but being alone is something I've always struggled with, but I've kind of, I guess, maybe gotten used to it, whether I wanted to or not, which is, a good thing in my eyes, because I'm just comfortable and happy with being alone. That's okay. I do have a girlfriend, I do have a son, but, with regards to my social life, friends and whatnot, there hasn't been a lot of that recently. And, that's okay, because I'm just so focused on, kind of other things. And, first and foremost, my sobriety, it comes first before pretty much anything. Right. So it's definitely something I've learned to accept. And it wasn't like that for a long time. I'd say for about, up until 3 months ago, it's not something that I would have, been so accepting of and learned how to handle, because I hated not having friends and stuff like that. But you learn once you do get sober that there's always going to be chances for you to, change any aspect of your life for the better once you do get sober. And making amends with those friends, it's even tough on my part. I'll be candid with you. It's tough on my part because, sometimes I think that, if I do want to be bitter, and sometimes I think that, oh, these friends left me at, at the time where I was my absolute lowest. And I could hold that grudge and that bitterness now, but it wouldn't get me anywhere, right? It doesn't serve any benefit to my life whatsoever. So, I just accept if I was a terrible person and they didn't want me around, and you gotta, I understand that, right? And so it's useless for me to be bitter or hold a grudge or anything like that. So I don't at all. With regards to my family relationships, since I was allowed back into my house, things have been amazing. I talked to my mom yesterday, and she said, things in this house have been better than they have been in a very long time. And, me and my sister have a great relationship again. She's, no one in this house is anxious, if I was going out and what kind of state I would come home in and what I would do, all these things. It just is a much more comfortable environment for everyone, and it's just peaceful. And that's really one of the main things I want right now, is just peace. The reason one of the reasons I got sober is because I was sick and tired of the chaos that was my downward spiral. And for now, being sober, it's just peaceful, and it just adds so much more balance to my life, and just things aren't hectic. There's just no chaos anymore, and it's just a good feeling because it's a much more enjoyable life to live than what I was living before. For the people that think that, for the people that are struggling to get sober, if you are listening to this, and you do have an addiction, I can tell you there's only two places or two things that you're going to end up, or that are going to happen. You're either going to end up dead or you're going to end up in jail. Those are those, I'll be honest, those are probably the two things that it's going to come down to. And, I've been close to those moments. I'm not going to get into specifics, but there's no other way that it's going to end unless you finally put your foot down and decide to do the work to get sober and to maintain sobriety. Because I didn't just snap my fingers and I'm sober. That's not how it happened. If it looks like that, trust me, it took a lot more than that. It took a lot. And to maintain sobriety, it takes a lot as well too, right? You have to put in the work afterwards. You don't just magically stay sober. It's every day waking up, some days harder than others, some places that you'll be triggered. There's triggers everywhere, and some event could happen and you're upset, and your first coping mechanism was to use your chosen substance to treat that. And, it's every day, it's a battle. Every day it's a struggle. Every day I learn how to deal with my addiction and maintain sobriety. Every single day you just keep learning. And I know I'm going to be learning every single day for the rest of my life, and that's okay, because I am more happy to do that than to go back to whatever kind of shitty life that I had before. But make sure you find ways that make maintaining your sobriety, easier and more enjoyable. Like, I started this podcast because it's nice, because I don't really open up a lot and I don't talk to a lot of people. Only some close people know really exactly what I went through. And even on here, I kind of struggle with opening up fully, and that's something that I'm trying to work on. So I do apologize for that. But it's a place, I made this YouTube channel so I could talk about certain things, and it feels good to talk out loud. And even if it's to nobody, it feels good for me to talk out loud and talk about some things that, I've went through and am going through. But I'm still learning how to open up fully. And I hope I can show you guys that in further videos. But, we'll see what happens. But yeah, like I said, you got to find ways that, benefit your sobriety, make your sobriety enjoyable, and, help maintain it. And like doing something like this, or, maybe picking up a new hobby, or trying a new sport, or, finding an activity that you like to do, or, even attending AA. AA is amazing, and every single place pretty much around the world has very accessible meetings, whether that's in person or over Zoom or whatnot. Find a sponsor, get your hands on the big book and work the steps. And these are all things that kind of take up your time, so you're less inclined to think about drinking or relapsing or using drugs or whatever the case may be. You want to fill up your time, What I've found as well too, which is nice, and I don't know if anyone or everyone can relate to this, that's, has suffered from addiction and now sober, but even when I have downtime and I'm just relaxing, it's crazy to me that I don't think about drinking as much as I thought I would. Maybe I did a lot at first. Maybe it's kind of subsided a little bit now. And I was talking to my mom about this, but every time I do think about drinking, like, I'll be out on the golf course and it's a nice day, or I'll be at a concert, and, drinking in those scenarios is, everyone does it, right? And, that's something that I wish I could do. But even in those moments when I do think about alcohol, I just think how much better my life is now as opposed to what it was. And it just takes those thoughts away, and I just move on from it, because I know once I have the first sip of alcohol, it'll be right back down the hole again, and I'll be in my full blown addiction again, drinking constantly, and just ruining my life again. I just know as soon as I have that first sip. So it's not hard for me to move past. No one wants to live a life like you were living when you're suffering through addiction. No one wants to go back to that. That's the whole point of sobriety. It's to get away from that and to create a better life for yourself. And so it's an easy thought for me to just be like, if I do have a thought of alcohol, I just think about what it was like and what my life is like now, and it just kind of takes it away per se. But some days are harder than others. I won't lie. It's tough. It is tough, and I don't know if I'm gonna be sober for forever, right? I really don't know, but I'm gonna be sober for one more day. And, usually that one more day that I'm sober turns into the next day, and then I'll stay sober for that day, and then the next day, and the next day. And that's fine. I'll do that for the rest of my life because I'm much more happy with the way life is now, and the way things are now. So, yeah, so that's kind of just what I wanted to get on here and talk about a little bit. I hope you guys did enjoy it. I hope you guys do enjoy listening to me. If you like the video, please leave a like. If you guys want to see more, please subscribe. Check out my other videos if you guys get a chance. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you.